Welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us for the first Conga Alliance Partner Showcase webinar. The purpose of these webinars is to introduce our customers to the consulting partners that we work with on a regular basis and give you the opportunity to get to know a little bit more about their practice and the services they offer beyond just Conga implementations. Today we will showcase Cloud My Biz and Kyazma. Each presenter will talk for about 15 minutes apiece about their consultancy. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Henry Habename with Cloud My Biz.
Hello everyone. First of all, can you hear me well? Okay, great. Well, thank you for the introduction, and I'll jump right in. As you see up there on the slide, Cloud My Biz is one of the partners work with Conga. We've been working with Conga for some time now and done many Conga implementations alongside Salesforce implementations. But what's special to us is that we really enjoy when there is a Conga component in the implementations that we work with. And today we'll showcase a bit how that actually plays itself out and why that really adds a nice component to the client's success. If we could go to the next slide, just a quick overview of Cloud My Biz. So we help companies empower their businesses through the cloud, and one of the big focuses is streamlining their processes. And once we meet with businesses and see companies out there that are achieving great growth but not quite meeting the goals that they're looking to meet, and being able to scale as quick as they want to scale, there's a need for increased collaboration, a need for increased automation, and turning to cloud-related tools such as Salesforce and Conga is very much a direction many companies are going to. And we specialize in Salesforce implementations, data migration, as well as working with third-party applications such as Conga Composer. So moving on to the next step, in here we can talk a bit about why Conga has helped many companies, and that we've worked with, and we can go further beyond that, and we will, and give you some examples. But just high level, it helps speed up the process at different companies in different ways. Automates their workflows, reduces overhead. That's a clear one, especially when you're dealing with a solution that helps generate documents. Not just generate documents. It's really beyond that. It's really automating the whole process of generating documents that need to go out to clients, vendors, partners, and so on and so forth. And then reducing errors when you don't have to retype and have your data in multiple places. You definitely reduce errors. So we find that what is achieved with Conga is true automation, in the sense that you very often go into companies that moving fast, moving furious. Their systems are somewhat fragmented, and when the sales manager walks in and says, "Hey, we've just landed a new client. Our load is going to increase by 40%." It's met with some of the team members are celebrating it, and others are really kind of like dreading it, because it's great to get more business, but if you're the employee on the front line, it means more work and more headache. Salesforce is a great tool and takes companies to the next level, where it could really allow you to automate your systems, automate your processes, and do a lot more with a lot less and scale a lot faster. But many companies find that once Conga has been implemented, there's a whole different level of automation, and as you will see in the example, the examples we will give. And why is a tool such as Conga such an important piece of a business's applications? And the answer is, Salesforce is great for everything that it does, and obviously we won't be spending time on that here today. I'm sure many of you on the call already can say a lot about how that tool has helped your business. But what Conga does is it makes the data actionable. it takes the data and presents it in a form that you can actually act on that data. It bridges the gap between the data entry, the intake process, to the output process, the output step. It pulls data from multiple objects that's limited within Salesforce without implementing Conga, and that's why I would say a big percentage of our clients that implement Salesforce do implement Conga. It allows you to be creative as well in how you pull the data and how you display the data. It's really, like any tool, there are limitations, but it's really about being creative, and there are workarounds, and there are ways to, despite the limitations, there really are so many ways to display the data in different formats and the way that's necessary. So, without a tool like that, it would be difficult to take the data that's inputted in your database, in your Salesforce org, and display it in a actionable format. The other thing is very simple. It's easy to make changes as your business requirements grow, and we see that so often. And that's one of the benefits of Salesforce, is that you can evolve the system as your business evolves. And with Conga, having the control over the documents and having control over how your proposal or your contract or your invoice is going to look by being able to open a Word document and make those changes on Word. We're all familiar with Word. We're all familiar with Excel. That's where all the formatting changes are made using the tools we're all familiar with. And as your requirements change, it's really easy to update it. Just to look at it kind of from contrasting it with some of the other solutions. There's a mail merge for a function within Salesforce, but you cannot pull from multiple objects, and you cannot render it easily in any format that you want. And the workflow and process that goes around it is very, very much elementary, and it's to no surprise. It's not an area, it's an area within Salesforce that's really requires an app like Conga. Another thing, and we'll leave off at this point and move into some of the examples, is with Conga, with our clients, the clients implement the Conga, they find that they can reuse a lot of the code and syntax and work that they've done on one scenario or one template, one requirement into multiple requirements by simply copying and pasting queries, copying and pasting syntax. But we'll leave that. For a different time. But for right now, the idea is that it's really an area that we've seen companies benefiting from a lot. So if we can move over to the next slide, what we're going to show here, we're going to showcase 6 industries and 6 success stories. It's obviously there's nothing like seeing actual examples in place. While there are more than 6 that we can showcase, 6 are highlighted here. Number 1, because of the different industries. They're really choosing various industries. And number 2, they have variances in the challenges and in the solutions that they've implemented. So let's dive right in. So the first industry that we'll showcase is a private jet charter service. Big business. If you haven't heard of it, look out there. If you ever want to fly your next trip, instead of flying a commercial aircraft, want to get your own private jet. There are companies out there that actually go and facilitate and broker, lower cost private jet flights that is a very attractive industry. And this company that we've worked with had many leads coming in from their website of individuals and passengers or high net worth individuals that were looking for flights, for private jets to go from, maybe New York to London and return. And the lead would come in, they'd qualify the lead, search for the jets that are available based on the carriers that they had, and then had to prepare quotes. All really done manually. And this came along with, they didn't have Salesforce when we met them either. But it took them sometimes 2-3 hours to build out their quotes. Hard to insert. They had to insert the jet pictures of the jets because there's nothing more exciting for the client to actually see a Gulfstream and see what they're going to be flying on. And it was just inconsistencies in the quotes. Many errors. The quotes had to be saved to a local drive. There was no tracking of what was sent and what wasn't sent. It just was a laborious process and a lot of back and forth with clients. Customers would say, "1 second, I asked for a route, to go from London, to go New York to London, but with a stop off in between." And so on and so forth. There was just a big process there. If we move on to the next step, we'll show you what the outcome was. They had one click, and the quote was built and emailed straight to the prospect. The quotes were able to be generated, obviously, from a mobile device. We have, while sipping martini. The difference, the owner of once they implemented Conga and Salesforce, the owner was telling us that their staff were able to just get leads and immediately send out quotes in no time, regardless if it was morning, afternoon, evening, weekends. Why? Because it just became what was a nightmare became an easy breeze to do. The prospects were able to instantly sign via DocuSign, so get a quote with various aircrafts options, and they would be able to initial the one that they wanted, sign for the deposit, and write out the passenger manifest right there within DocuSign, sent right back into Salesforce. And then knowing that the client was able to do that so quickly, the reps were immediately notified as soon as the client clicked the sign button on DocuSign. They were able to book that flight so that it doesn't become unavailable. And that's when you tie together tools such as Salesforce with Conga and DocuSign. You're really taking the process from start to finish and putting it all in an automated form. And just quickly, the images of the aircrafts were no longer sitting all over. They were actually in Salesforce, and you were able to insert it really quickly without going and looking. It was just all there on the different records that were available in Salesforce. They were able to merge it onto one quote that went straight out. Let's move on to the next industry. We have event planning. So company picture doing a lot of events. For many corporations and even weddings and bar mitzvahs to big corporate events. And they're sending out many contracts to clients and artists and vendors back and forth. The challenge was each time they had to send a contract, they had to go and do it manually. They called and asked for some automation. So they were also spending 30% of their day, or their employees' day, just preparing, configuring, and chasing paperwork. And when they sent out the documents or contracts to the artists or the clients to book the events, it would just take a lot of time to sign and send it back. If we can go to the next step. So what was the outcome? With emails, they were able to, with Conga HTML emails, they were able to aggregate data from multiple objects in Salesforce. So data could be laid out into many different objects related to the event, and it comes into one email in one template. There was no more manual paperwork or contracts, so we implemented the contracts and documents with Conga, so that way, when they're ready to send it out to the client, click of a button. Faster turnaround times, and they were able to focus on selling and creating events versus the administrative work. And the features that we used were Conga HTML email, as I mentioned, implemented it with DocuSign. Again, clients were able to be anywhere at any point in time and receive that document or that contract for the event, see every bit of detail that they discussed that was entered into Salesforce, nicely formatted on a contract, and be able to just click sign and move on. As well as a feature we all love, Conga Workflow, so that way they were able to advance the artists the week before the event and send it out easily. Moving on to the next, the third industry, small business lending. In the lending business, there's the big process is really reviewing applications and deciding the approval. Who's going to get funded, who's not going to get funded, and what business. This was a business lending in the business lending space. So there's a high volume of applications. A lot of deals were being lost to competitors because of the slow turnaround times. There's a high overhead in processing deals, and there's just a big bottleneck there because in order for the approval committee to review a business's request for funding, there was a need to review the credit report, bankruptcy history, sales history, lien history, application information, and all that was stored into multiple objects. And knowing hands-on experience that it just took so long to be able to take all that info and put it on a one-sheet summary to be able to put it in somewhat of a deal package so that the committee can review it and determine the approval process. With implementing Conga, we were able to the turnaround time was decreased by 80%. So what took 2 hours to process an application became no time. The data entry still was definitely required, and those steps were done. But once everything was entered into Salesforce, there was, at the click of a button, a full summary sheet that merged all the sales history, the previous loans that were received from the company, as well as the credit report attachments that were in Salesforce were merged into one output, and they were able to close more deals faster and obviously have happier customers. I'll just move on to the next. In the interest of time, just move on to the fourth industry, where we have personal injury attorneys dealing with various clients. There's lost records and paperwork, many letters that have to go out, and a lot of filings. With implementing Conga, there was obviously no more need to have 30, 40 different documents on your desktop that get modified and lost and processed manually. Easy to send them out directly out of Salesforce, pull out images from the accidents that may have occurred into different documents that needed to go out to the plaintiff, to the defendant, and so on and so forth. I mean, just thinking of the paperwork an attorney has to deal with implementing Conga, that became, again, allowed them to take on a lot more clients and process these a lot faster. The fifth industry that we're pointing out here is the business corporate filings. There you go. So every time a business is formed, there's a need to file for LLC or corporations, and there's a process with the Secretary of State. So there was a business out there that was doing this on a wholesale level with many forms every day that needed to go out to different states. They obviously had a library of PDFs with different forms for different states, for different entities. And there were errors in the filings. It took a long time to do it. Very difficult to train new employees. And with different forms for different states, it's just a high overhead to take care of it. And when a file was merged and when a PDF document was prepared, it needed to be saved to a separate server, not tied into the workflow, not tied into the application. With Conga, what we did there is implemented that they were able to click a button and it would merge out and prepare that PDF with the information based on the state, based on the entity type. So the user had no longer needed to choose the correct form based on the state, but be able to just click a button and that work was done. Conga has the ability to read fields on the page, read fields in Salesforce, and based on different criteria, push that data out. So there was a reduction in overhead, clearly by being able to process a lot more with a lot less and eliminate a lot of errors. And again, in the interest of time, we'll just complete with the sixth industry, a consulting firm out there. That's right, guess who? with a cumbersome bi-monthly invoicing procedure where different clients sometimes have different requirements how their invoices need to be sent and need to be prepared. SOW, statement of works, need to be printed every day. Weekly client reports need to go out. How could that all be done without having a slow, manual, cumbersome process? I mean, the data using Salesforce, everything is there, but how do we send out those reports? How do the invoices get generated? Without automation, it was very difficult to bring on new clients and scale. With the outcome of Conga, we're able to increase closed deals, one-click invoicing, pulling in all time entries from various developers in different locations. The SOW time creation was reduced by 95%. Weekly reports go out on a batch process. The nice thing about Conga is you don't have to do one-off merges. It would actually, you'd be able to take advantage of Conga Conductor that does it on batch, and you can do 10 or 100 all in one shot. Happy customers and high customer retention using a good variety and mix of the Conga tools out there. So I guess we can hop to the final slide. That, if there's any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'll turn it back to you. Thank you all for listening, and all the best.
Thanks so much, Henry, for showing us how you've used Conga with your clients. We really appreciate your time and your presentation. Next, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Nick Liechty with Kyazma.
Thanks for joining us today. My name is Nick Liechty. I'm a certified Salesforce.com consultant, administrator, and developer for Kyazma Business Consulting. Kyazma is a Salesforce Silver Cloud partner who was referred by Salesforce over 600 times last year. We focus on small to mid-market businesses who need Salesforce implementations or customization. We have expertise in Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and integration with external systems, as well as the other things you can see on the screen here. We've worked with clients such as SEO.com, Qualtrics, Huntsman Chemical, and many others. I'm going to focus today on some of the ways that Kyazma uses Conga Composer to streamline our own consulting practice. You can see here a list of some of the Conga merge templates that we use in our own practice. You can see that we do proposals, invoices, retainers, billing milestones, status updates, and I'm going to go through some of these with you today. Here you can see that we have an opportunity, just like you would see in Salesforce, and you can see down toward the bottom of the screen that we've included some products that we may use in some of our opportunities with our clients. You can see on the right, bottom right, that we have the description of those products and what they entail. And so what we do is when we convert an opportunity, when it's closed won, we actually have a trigger that we've built that creates a project record and transfers all of the information from the products over into child records on that project. And when we create a proposal, we can see here that it transfers all of the information on the products into that proposal and groups them into their various components. You can see that analysis and design has its information, which are bulletized key moments there. We can also see that those products that fall under the development category were automatically grouped under development and bulletized as well. So this is one of the ways that we send out our proposal for our clients using Conga. Next, we're going to go to the project that I spoke about. And in this project, it brings quite a bit of information over from the opportunity, including the products and product details. And when, excuse me, so when we're working with our projects, we can, we've got a custom button that we've created up at the top called Create Retainer Invoice. And as we click that button, it will take all of this information that we've got in the project and put today's date, the due date, will automatically put their information, our information, and the details of the project and the invoice that are contained within the project detail in Salesforce automatically put into that invoice record through Conga. You can see we've got it formatted in HTML, and that's something that we can do right there in Conga, and with one click of a button we've got an invoice created for our clients. Another thing that we do with Conga is provide status updates on a weekly basis to our clients. we have that information contained within the project record. This is just down further on the page from the last page we were looking at. And we have the status of the project, next week's plans, projected hours. Then we also have a record of hours that have been spent on the project already, contained in a related list, a child record called time utilization. So we have the details of those items and the tasks that were completed on that project during that specified time. And we can create through another custom button an email that goes out that is pre-formatted, that has all of that information in a mashup between the two objects, the project and the time utilization object, and it puts it all together here in an easy to read format for our clients. And that's something that we send out to them every week. So those are just a few different ways that Kyazma is using Conga to streamline its own business processes and to improve our clients' experience. If you'd like to contact us, you can go to www.kyazmallc.com, or you can contact me at my email listed below. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you presenting on behalf of Kyazma. Thanks everyone for being here. If you'd like to connect with our partners, here's their contact information. Again, Henry Abaname with Cloud My Biz and Nick Liechty with Kyazma. Here's some resources if you worked with us in the past. We have the documentation, quick starts, and webinars at congasphere.com. You can also go ahead and look up the videos, our YouTube channel. Or of course, as always, feel free to email or call us directly. Our business analyst team is second to none.